He was in a different situation than me. Much different. He was an educator. And he got in trouble. I guess they were trying to charge him with sexual assault. Well, that destroys his reputation, destroys his name, and of course, makes it impossible to get a job in teaching ever again. He already lost a job over that. Now, here's the question posed to me. Would I trust Dana Jeppson to teach my children, knowing what I know? I was also told that my answer is irrelevant because I don't have kids, but I was asked if I would trust Dana Jeppson to watch my children, to teach them, actually, not to watch them, but to teach them. My answer is absolutely fucking yes. You know where I got most of my knowledge in construction? I got it over at Jeppson's. The best finisher in fucking town is Dana Jeppson. If I had kids, I'd want them to know all of the things that I learned, and I would want them to learn them from the people I learned them from. Also, when I heard what he got in trouble for, I'm sorry, folks, I can't help but laugh. And I know that sounds horrible given what he was charged with, all right? And they had to drop the charges because he was just... You don't take construction to work if you work at a public school. Now, with what he said, if he said that to my kid, would I be okay with it? You fucking ain't right, I would. You know where Dana Jeppson learned that from? He learned it from me. You know where I learned it? I learned it in the system. You know where I knew Dana Jeppson from? I didn't know him from school. I knew him from construction. I knew him from tree cutting. I knew him from him finishing every project that we ever fucking started. I know it because all of the Jeppson boys go there and they do all of the, set up and make sure the drywall was all put together, and then Dana would come in and he would put in his fine finesse work and he would make it look beautiful. Everything. He'd finish the cement, he'd finish the walls, he'd just exquisite work. And he knows his shit. Build it straight. Every time it's gonna be fucking straight. His daddy taught him right. Now, what would Dana Jeppson do if somebody touched his daughter? Well, probably something much different now. I wouldn't want to speculate on that. I do know that he's a Nebraskan. I know that he had a Class 2 manufacturer's license, so he could actually own and manufacture full auto machine guns as long as he followed the federal firearms license. Well, important facts and info. If you have a full auto receiver and it was manufactured for a certain date, which you guys might want to look that up, as long as you don't modify the receiver itself, you can turn it into a full auto machine gun anyway. Dana Jeppson had a license to do that. Now, being charged with what he was charged with, he loses that automatically. That's $20,000 investment down the toilet. Now, am I saying what he did was right? Absolutely fucking not. But also, if he's going to be teaching my kids, man, I want them little fucking brats, first of all, to not be a bunch of fucking little shitheads to everybody, you know? Dana Jeppson is a very respectful individual. I mean, very respectful. He also knows that part of his job, which is fucking people pleasing for the better of the community, part of his job is learning how to fucking shit talk. He's got to be able to drop his dumbass to the fucking common man's level, and he's not a dumbass. That's not easy. Sometimes you got to be a little more ignorant or a little more foul-mouthed, just to let people know that you're not perfect. Nobody trusts somebody who's perfect. Are you fucking insane? No. But what was Dana's purpose in everything that he did to improve his community, any community that he's in, to improve it? If I got kids, my kids better be able to fucking trade foul mouth goddamn insults with their old man. And if they're going to do that, they ought to learn from the best, which would, of course, naturally be me. But I think that Dana Jeppson has his own style of shit talking, and I think that Sean Jeppson has his own style of shit talking. But one thing Dana Jeppson didn't know and didn't understand is, like, I wasn't just somebody who learned that, off of some movie. No, I grew up in the system. When I say shit like farting yogurt, which that's not what he said. He said another one that's world famous out of me for about 4 years in chapel. Yeah, you might want to ask him about it sometime. Now, when somebody says something like what he did, and like I said, it's his story to tell. You guys can look it up on the internet. Yes, he was charged, and, he did plead guilty to a lesser offense. I got Dana Jeppson in trouble. Like, that is so fucked up. Don't repeat shit that I say, okay? There's certain things in the system that you say them because you want the other motherfucker to swing. That is absolutely 100% intent and purpose of it. Also, trading wits with somebody in the system, it's definitely not what it is on a construction site. On a construction site, it's loose banter. When you're in the system, you want to fucking straight up trash that motherfucker down to nothing. For me, I got a stuttering problem, but when I'm pissed off, it goes away. Rawr. I'm different and I'm weird, and I know it. Nobody in Chapel, Nebraska accepted me. Nobody. How true is that when there's 2 Jeppson families that treated me extremely well, even the ones that did not like me? Ron and Terry Jeppson, absolutely great to me. I was always scared of Terry, and Brandon let me know that his mom didn't like me, and of course Jason let me know that his mom didn't like me. Kim didn't want to cross any lines. She's a very sweet person. Now, all these people know each other. All these people know Dana Jeppson. And of course, in a small town, people know a little bit more than they should. And there's also the fact that in a small town, most of what they think they know is bullshit. But with Dana Jeppson's reputation ruined, at least he had his family to fall back on. And they did help him through this stuff. I really, I would definitely allow him, not only allow him, but require him, as a matter of his position as an educator, I would require him to talk shit to my kids. I would require him to do that. I would also require him to, if he's going to teach my kids some fucking mathematics, put a fucking trowel in their hand and a fucking square. If you're going to teach them, you need to start there. There's a reason that for hundreds and hundreds of years, there were a lot of structures that, oh, by the way, 2,000 years later are still up. The reason for this is the trades. If you were going to learn math so that you could build cathedrals, well, it would probably, and this is, I don't know if this is common sense. You guys want to call it slave labor. I call it an education, and that's what I got at the Jeppsons. But it's a square and a trowel. A square and a trowel. You take a look at the stuff that the Romans built. You're talking about people getting internships at some of them as young as 6 years of age. We're not talking about slaves. We're talking about master craftsmen. Many of the quote-unquote slaves of the Roman Empire were, well, for a long time, after 10 years, they had to be freed. It was a indentured servitude. But at the end of it, I mean, we've got so many of these slaves who became doctors, like immediately afterwards. They were a doctor's slave. That doctor teaches the slave how to be a doctor. And then, of course, he's got to give the slave a small purse when the slave is released so that slave can, of course, start a life in Rome. And by that time, most of the time, they'd made friends. And I'm not advocating for slavery in the least bit, at all. What I'm saying is that the kind of education that Dana Jeppson can bring to your fucking family and bring to your children, I mean, yes, your children will come home. They will say their yes sirs and they will say their yes ma'ams if he has his way about it. I know his kids, they will talk shit. They are fucking very good at it. Not as good as me by a long shot, but they're alright. They're better than most. But that's from coming from a construction family. Some of the stuff that I say that makes you guys vomit, makes you just puke up in your mouth a little bit when I say things like, farting yogurt or farting another man's yogurt, and how unpleasant an experience that, you know what, you guys can go ahead and visualize that. You think Dana Jeppson's vulgar? He was being fucking nice. If you're gonna be a little fucking shitbrick, oh hell yes, fucking bring it on. If my kids are being fucking foul-mouthed with you, by God, you better be fucking foul-mouthed back. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And that includes everyone being allowed to defend themselves. If my kid does attack you, I do believe that you have the right, even if you are 40 years his senior, especially if you're 40 years his senior. Dana Jeppson knows how to drop you without fucking slamming you. Of course, Rory Jeppson was the fighter. All of them can do it without hurting you, but I don't think that any of them would do it without hurting you, because here's one of the things that Nebraskans, as a general rule, are taught. When you fucking wrong somebody, there is going to be a fucking consequence. And all of you forgot that when it came to me. When you decided that you didn't care about anybody else's kids but your own. When people threatened you rather than coming forward, you came to me. I did speak up. If I gotta be the voice, I will be the voice. But God damn it, nobody listens to me. I can't be everyone's voice. We have to stand together. We have to speak up about these things. And if you're afraid for your family, and I'm being called a fucking nut job because I'm saying you guys quit because you're afraid for your families. If the cops say one thing and you say another, if I was there for the situation, then I was. Yes, I know that you were telling the truth and the cops were not. I already have you recorded on my channel admitting that those situations and events happened. I have you in my screenshots. I've got your phone numbers. I've got all of the information that shows that you actually did those things, and I'm trying to do that without having to go to YouTube. But that trust needs to be there, and that trust isn't there. Most of these folks, I wouldn't trust them with my kids, because if somebody came to harm my kids, I couldn't trust them to not just watch them walk out with my fucking kid. If I had a kid, here's my dream lineup of teachers and educators for my kids. First of all, Ed Miller, but not for science. He's only the first one on my list because I know that Gary Jeppson would. He deserves to have his own time with his family. He's old. Ed Miller isn't much younger, but Ed Miller's understanding of applied physics is wonderful. So it's his field experience that I would want. If you're going to go out and you're going to check the levels of dead birds at them windmills, and you're going to get paid for that, yes, I am absolutely fine with my kids going to work with you every day and learning what you're doing, as long as you talk the whole time you're working. I would want my kids' heads to be filled with knowledge. I don't want my kids to be ignorant. I don't want my kid turning 21 years of age and still not understand how to remove another man's testicles if he tries to pull something. Pardon me. If you guys want to know how to do that, you can ask either a good pastor or you can ask Master Carnes. I believe that both of them still teach at their dojo in Kent, Washington. If not, there's also another dojo in Hollywood, California. I was not at the one in Hollywood, California. Also, there's several videos where I do explain how to do that. If you want to go back and look, good luck. There's a lot of videos. When it comes to sexual assault, it's not a laughing matter. It's absolutely not. But when you are fed up with somebody, and I'm, of course, on this part, I'm just assuming, but yeah, I've been to the point where I've pulled out some shit that I learned in institutions that ought not be repeated in front of God or the devil or anybody. And when I was angry, I sure as shit pulled that out. I'm also witty, and people fucking hate that. They hate it when I'm witty. It pisses them off. It makes them angry, it makes them sassy, it makes them snarky. That snarkiness, the snarky tone. So, of course, with that passive aggressive snarkiness, and then there's the slightly aggressive snarkiness, and then there's the playing stupid, which is very common. Dana Jeppson, after I spoke to him about my experiences when Natalie died, and after that, he didn't understand how it destroys your life, how you lose everything if you don't have family. There's a helicopter up there, but I'm not sure if you can pick up the sound. It's pretty high up there. The thing that weirded me out about it is it sounds like an airplane, but it's moving too slow to be an airplane. Alright, so with Dana Jeppson, he also is, on my list, but Dana Jeppson is the one that I would want to take building everything. Dana going out and making something out of cement, yes. Teach my kids how to set up the forms, teach them how to use the square, teach them how to use the chalk line, teach them how to use the string, and of course teach them how to not smash their fucking thumb. When they're driving stakes, teach them to drive them as straight as they need to be to get into where they need to be, because sometimes you're going to need to adjust. Teach them how to do the shimming. Teach them how to use a level. And teach them how to use a measuring tape. This is applied mathematics. This is the mathematics you are actually going to fucking use. If you go off in the woods with the right hand tools, yes, you can do the same exact stuff that you can do with power tools. 2,000 years ago, not power tools, hand tools, built structures that are still standing to this day. Now, the entire Jeppson family has this. They've been raised with it. Now, Derek, when he was younger, not so much, but when he got older, he's getting into learning that stuff. Derek is one of Dana Jeppson's sons, Jace Jeppson. He's also recorded on my channel. There's a video called Jace, Chapel Witness, and although Jace is, well, I hate to call him a coward, I'd like for him to show me otherwise. Only time will tell, correct? Well, you know what? He said it was alright that was on my channel, and that he wasn't going to try to get it taken down because he understands. Derek, well, he didn't exactly apologize after the bullshit that he pulled, but you know what? He started talking to me like I was a person again. That's good enough. Is Dana stand-up enough a guy for me to want to have teach my kids that aspect of life? No, he's not. Now that he's going through this, he knows exactly why I needed him to come forward, because sometimes bullshit happens, you're going through a lot of hell, and some fucking bastard just wants to be a fucking shithead for nothing. And usually it's a little bastard that you did good things for. Isn't that always the story? A lot of the people that did fucked up stuff to me, like, yes, it was absolutely predatory what they did after the fact. But their mistakes are very human. Their mistakes are very understandable. Their fears are very understandable. It's not alien conspiracies. It's not some brainwave from the Illuminati or the FBI. It's not some CIA friggin' unicorn project. It's real life motivations. Some people are just sick fucks. Dana Jeppson's not one of them. Well, not mentally anyway. Here's what I know about Dana Jeppson. He is a product of what we have trained him to be. Myself, the Jeppsons, the other people who have worked for the Jeppsons over the years. Gary Jeppson makes sure everyone is very professional, but you know what? When we're doing our own projects, even though Gary maintains his professionality at that point in time, that's also the boys' time to let loose and be construction workers. You don't do it on the job site. You do it on your own projects. You do it while you're setting up the chainsaws before you load them up into the High Ranger and fucking take your ass to wherever it is you need to cut that shit. That's where you get Dana and the cherry picker, and then you get Rory up in the High Ranger, and everybody stay the fuck out of the way. And he drops all the smaller branches. They go into a pile. And then, of course, he brings a chainsaw down. When he brings a chainsaw down, that's when you go in, you grab everything, you friggin' haul off the big branches. You take the stuff that's, of course, the logs that have been cut, and you try to cut them about anywhere between 12 and 18 inches so they'll still fit into a fireplace. They'll go into the log pile. And now you throw them into the bucket, and when they go into the bucket turns around, drops it in the truck, comes back, and you fill it up again. Of course, you also take the branches, and you set the branches crossways. So, we'll take a couple of these fronds of grass. I'll show you how you do it. Let's say both of these grass fronds here. We'll say both of them are branches that you've cut down off of a tree. These are the thin ones. You don't lay them all the same direction. You alternate them back and forth. This one is pointing this way. This one is pointed this way. This helps them when you grab them with a bucket or when you pick them up for them to hold together. And then, of course, you put them on as a big giant bundle of sticks. And it's a pretty efficient way to do it. And then you got Sean, who's supposed to gas and oil it. Gary didn't trust anybody to sharpen it except for him. Dana would sharpen it too. He was pretty good at it. Dana, though, up in a tree, it's a lot different than his finishing work. Dana is dangerous in a tree. What he's going to do is he's going to cordon off an area, and he's going to tell everybody to get the fuck out of the way and stay the fuck out of the way, and he's going to get the whole thing dropped in one go, and then when we're all done with the tree that Rory's dropping, then we go and we help Dana clean up his tree until he hurt his back. And I don't know how to explain to you guys with my own back problems. When you hurt your back, you go fucking crazy. People want to tell you all sorts of stuff that your doctor's telling you one thing and everybody else is telling you another. They want to tell you you're lazy. You just need to get a job. You just need to stretch. You just need to move. And sometimes that's the problem, and you do actually just need to stretch and just need to move. Sometimes you can't. There's not a man alive other than myself that I would trust to teach my children morals. The reason for this is because the fact is, every single upstanding individual in my life has turned out to be a coward, with the exception of myself. If you were truly threatened, if you are truly afraid for your children, then you need to come forward and put those predators away. If all of you ladies with children, if you're going to use that as your excuse, and it is an excuse, because all of you women with children who want to pretend, and I do mean pretend, I'm not saying that lightly. If these things truly happened, you women need to work together in order to protect your children. That means all of you need to call each other, get to know each other, show what you know, tell what you know, and put away the actual predators. Actual predators. Not Dana Jeppson. Are you fucking kidding me? No, Ted Bollinger is a fucking predator. That's a fucking predator. When it comes to teaching my kids not to be pussies, as you call it, yeah, they're not going to be kitty cats at all. They're going to be living, breathing human beings. But you know what? I won't ever have kids. Do you know why? It's not because I'm against intercourse. I just am against it for me. But that's not it either. I think it's gross. I always wanted kids, but I think it's cruel to bring children into this world and expect them to do better than us when we're not doing better ourselves. When we're expecting our children to be the cure for our fucking illness. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Don't be a fucking bitch. Your kids' lives are at stake. Their livelihoods are at stake, and not just your kids, everybody else's fucking kids too. And for God's sake, somebody get all of these women on the intercom, every one of them. All of them. Every woman in America needs to be called up on the intercom and said, hey, ladies, you really want to change this? You know how to do it. You have been fucking getting angry at your husband and getting him to do shit that he don't really want to fucking do for years, haven't you? Haven't you? And some of you go, you know what, it takes an arm and a fucking leg and a fucking week and a half. Well, if that's what it fucking takes, god damn it, if this is something that you're gonna bitch about on Facebook for the next 6 months and get absolutely nothing fucking done, y'all can work together and in a week and a half get your fucking husbands off their fucking asses. Tell them you ain't gonna fucking let them eat no more Funyuns, and you ain't gonna kiss them with their damn Funyun breath if they ain't gonna fucking get off their asses and fucking support you on this shit. You ought to be going after real fucking predators like Ted Bollinger. You know, I'm trying to pretend as much as I can, because I really can't. I can't pretend to be the fucking bad guy. Are you shitting me? That is not who I am. That shouldn't be the only way to get heard, to pretend to be like that, because Dana Jeppson didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Well, you know what? If I talk to him about the same issue today, now he's got first-hand experience, which means he's not going to fucking spout retarded shit at me. He's not going to spout ignorant shit at me. There's a word I use a lot that a lot of people hate. I've gotten picked on since I was a little kid for being gay. I've never been gay. I stick up for the LGBT community because that treatment is fucking atrocious. It's not okay. But that's not it. I'll tell you about it in a later video. Dana Jeppson is not the problem. If I had kids, absolutely, he'd be one of the first people I went to. There's a few other people that I would go to. But since Dana is a jack of all trades and he can do all the finishing, he's also got quite a bit of knowledge about electrical. So he can do everything that I can do and then some. And for me, I just don't have a place to do it. A lot of the people that I got tools from, they can verify that they gave me the tools, or that I earned the tools, or that I pulled it out of their garbage can and made it fucking work when it was broken. Dana being a foul-mouthed fucking construction worker and it coming out when he's fucking frustrated. Well, you know what? And this is a story that people told in chapel. So, I mean, when people are trying to tell a story about their boogeyman, and yes, they were telling me about Dana Jeppson, the boogeyman, and I listened to their stories, and I'm like, oh my God, if that's the worst that you guys can come up with, because I can literally remember at least 2 different occasions where I literally said that to Dana Jeppson himself to his face. Because I was frustrated. And no, it wasn't on a job site, but it was partially over him. Dana Jeppson, a lot of times when he's doing his finishing work, I mean, you're moving back and forth between, different projects depending on the dry time and a lot of different conditions, the temperature, time of day, a lot of different stuff is factored into that. When you're finishing, you're the guy who's leaving at the end of the day, and a lot of times, like, he'll have to work in a hole that we've had to dig it out, and we've had to do all of the important shit, and now he's just finishing up and he's got his own tools, and then here we are like 2 days later going, all right, Dana, where the fuck is that U-Wall drill? Well, he's buried it at the bottom of that fucking hole. But, everybody fucks up. Nobody's perfect. And Dana, being the finisher, he lost a lot of tools. And that's why, end of the day, what's Sean's job? Go around the job site twice. Everywhere that we went, you look for tools that somebody might have left there. If somebody gets that sucked up into their lawnmower, that's going to suck. So, for me, knowing so many people that were killed, so many people that were in the news, and, having people tell me that Dana Jeppson is a monster for having a construction mouth, yes, absolutely, I would still trust him to watch my kids. If he's gonna repeat something that came out of my mouth, I better fucking own it, right? That doesn't mean that this story is true, and I haven't asked Dana about it. I mean the story of what it is he supposedly said. Sometimes you just get sick of people getting lippy with you. Dana's smart, and he knows he's smart. So when he encounters somebody else who's smart, it can kind of become a competition. And he's a much older guy than me, so when it was hot days and tempers flare. But it wasn't like we were going to fight thing. There was no animosity there. It was just frustration, frustration with the other guy, and also frustration with you're fucking overwhelmed and overworked as well. Sometimes you say things that are way below the belt. When you guys do that to me, I do absolutely do the same thing back. You're right. When you call me a hypocrite, you are absolutely right. The reason for that is because when I do it, it's a horrible thing. When you do it, I'm supposed to just Forget about it, move on. How the hell do you think that way? And people want to tell me, oh, Sean, my family's being threatened, Sean. I'm still going to come forward. I'm still going to come forward, but Sean, my family's being threatened. And then there's the ones who are like, Sean, I got to dip out. They're threatening my family. They're threatening me. They're threatening to kill my dog and all sorts of creepy shit. I'm fucking out. If somebody was going to walk up and shoot Dana Jeppson, I would like to think that I would stand in front of the bullet. I would like to think that I would be ballsy enough and care about him enough that I would do that. Absolutely. I don't want to see my loved ones killed. If I'm not there in person, I can't do that. But of course, it's easier for me to not be there in person because I have to be afraid with all these people telling me that their loved ones and their children are being fucking threatened and have been for 6 fucking years now. 6 goddamn years. They started fucking threatening me directly and threatening to me that they're going to kill my family and my loved ones and all sorts of other creepy shit. And no matter what, nobody fucking cared. I tried to tell people, but they wanted to tell me about all their own personal stuff, and that is the most frustrating thing. Now, obviously, I am quite a colorful feller vocally. Dana Jeppson doesn't do that. Not ever to anybody. No, if he has a slip of the tongue like that, it's a verbal lashing, and it's intentional as far as he was trying to get a point across. It's not meant literally. It's fucking knock it off, you little fucking shit brick. It's... I don't think that he was meant for classroom teaching because it shouldn't be classroom teaching. I think that everybody should know how to build their own fucking house, and I believe that if you build it, it's yours. If there's somebody who is disabled and they are not able to build their house, well, we got plenty of houses, don't we? And of course, we can help out our fellow man, can we not? If you got the tools and your buddy's got the tools. I mean, we got that feller down there tonight. He was down there earlier today cleaning up, raking and scooping and making it look nice. Making it look nice because the city won't do it. They want it to look like the homeless people are terrible, horrible people who are trashing the place because they're all druggies. And you know what? They may be druggies, they may be alcoholics, but not all of them are. And just because somebody's a druggie or an alcoholic doesn't mean they want to live in a fucking shit pit. Where the hell are they supposed to throw away their garbage? You guys ought to know this routine from my situation. Where do I put my garbage? I stuff it in between my stuff, in between my belongings, in between my evidence. Dana pled guilty to a much lesser crime. I mean, he was just being an asshole, so they basically charged him with just being an asshole. But not until after they destroyed his reputation. They destroyed the man's name. The things that I say about the Jeppsons, well, I make sure they're true before I say them. I make sure they're true to the best of my knowledge and to the best of their character. But I also want to say to all the people in Boulder who wanted to look the other way rather than find out first, you dumb son of a bitches, how hard did I fight for your goddamn rights? How many times did I walk you fucking idiots to the warming centers? How many times did I give you blankets? And how many times did I sleep outside? How many friends did we lose? How many became corpses? How many times did Keith Steinman, that shitty fucking prick of a cop, come up to us when our friends fucking froze to death because of the fucking illegal blanket goddamn law and call them bumsicles? Dana Jeppson ain't gonna do that shit. Dana Jeppson's heart is in the right place. It's in his fucking chest, where it belongs, where all of you are supposed to have your hearts at. If your heart is somewhere else in your anatomy, I certainly hope you've seen a doctor about it. Or you can talk to God, I don't know. If you think that your heart's in the wrong place, then, well, please go see a doctor and ask them, because that does sound odd. Some of the stuff today kind of, it scares me. It scares me to know that all these people, rather than coming forward on their own, rather than working together at the very beginning. I mean, all these women and men telling me that they were going to help me and wanted to help me. I'm like, talk to each other, please. Talk to Brandon Ratner. Talk to Veronica Randall. Talk to Mark Townsend. Talk to Clyde Townsend. Yeah, there were fucking pricks everywhere. Oh. Monster Java and some pizza. No, it was a ham and cheese hot pocket, wasn't it? I'm scared because I'm always alone. I know that if Dana Jeppson was there and my kids were there and somebody tried to do something to them, there would be nothing stopping Dana Jeppson from... Oh God, I wouldn't want to be there to see it. You don't fuck with kids. You don't fuck with kids. I'm not saying that the other person would not survive the encounter. Dana Jeppson tries to keep a level head, but he'd fucking hurt them. He'd make sure that they never thought about fucking hurting a kid again, ever. And I also want to mention that I do take that with a grain of salt. I know that I'm not there every moment of every day to see everything that he does. He might be some horrible monster who did horrible things, but I want to see the proof if he did. Before I go treating him like he's some sort of a horrible monster over fucking rumors, I want to see the proof of it. I want to know the truth of it. I don't want to just believe you because you said so. I've been in too many goddamn places where you said so ended up being fucking bullshit. As you've probably noticed in many of my recordings. Amanda DeMeck should get together with my little sister and Laura Nelson. Seriously. Not just them, they should get together with Miss Peaches. They should make sure that the predators are put away, and also they should help to put me away, because if I am locked away, people don't have any incentive to go after them. Well, not nearly as much. We got lobbyists who think that they own the country. I believe that women own the country. I believe that the most fearsome creature in the United States is the mama bear. 100%. These women know me. When they tell me that they're afraid for their kids, you're goddamn right I'm gonna speak up. And the more of them tell me that, the more I'm gonna speak up, the louder I'm gonna speak up. You don't fuck with my friends, you don't fuck with my family. If we ain't friends no more, that's fine. Kids come first and you fucking know it. And when I say the kids come first, that doesn't mean yours. Yours are also not excluded. Equality means all of us. When I say the kids come first, that does include your kids. That includes my sister's kids as well. It includes Amanda DeMett's kids. It includes my brother's kids. It includes Amy Witcher's kids. You just don't fuck with kids. That's the moral of the goddamn story. Everybody talks about how they'd shoot child molesters and they're all full of shit. I say I turn them in and I do. No joke. I'm not hurt by the cops because I'm homeless. That's a tough thing to deal with. I'm glad that Dana Jeppson didn't have to encounter the majority of the issues that I did. But I'm sure people were not nice and friendly to him on every single occasion. He's also bigger than me, so he's a little bit more intimidating. And, well, he does carry himself well. He's a pretty jolly feller. A lot of the problem that I had with people like Megan Mistigate is I don't know her from fucking Adam. I do know Amanda DeMett. Now, with Amanda DeMett telling me that her fucking kids are threatened, well, you goddamn right. Or telling me that she's afraid for her kids. There's a difference. There were a lot of people who, yes, told me their kids were threatened, and their YouTube videos are still on this channel, like Sarah Bacon. You'll also get to encounter a lot of videos where I'm fucking screaming, I am fucking livid. There's some of them where I'm pissed off about a situation and I'm explaining the situation, how complicated it is and was, and of course that just ends up sounding crazy because it is so complicated. But when I get to show the evidence, that's when people really start to understand, like, holy fuck, Sean, this is like crazier than Hollywood. Anyway, I'm going to the store. I'm going to pick my nose in front of these people pulling up. And then I'm going to go in and get me something to drink because I'm a little too hot. Anyway, good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper. And no victim left behind.